So, simple tort claim, it's employment insurance, also WCB, compensation, important word to remember. That side, it's a defalcation if you catch them for misconduct because of assurance issues. On this side, you have insurance when you prove a breach of contract, breach of trust, 422 Criminal Code. It's a labor dispute actually because of the UN. It's union rules. There's a mixed war going on. Who's going to get the conduct money? Criminal Code 426 is secret commission. It's all backroom banking. IC is internal circular 7612 from CRA is a private contract agreement, a constructive trust between you and CRA under sovereign immunity. A contract in a back room. It's all based on wages. That's your sovereignty, immunity, and your intellectual property, because you got to crawl away from your arm, your labor, to the head. Intellect, which will qualify you in the back room as a variable interest entity, qualified special private entity for a qualified investment broker. UN rules page, or public services, the 2-page article, page 16 and 17, 8.4.2, subrogation of rights and defenses to not sue the UN insurance carrier. Page 17, section 19 is to do with labor, child labor abuse for moral, ethical, and educational infringements, underselling the labor value, tapping into the CNIL account, which is cumulative net investment losses out or in of the CAFRs for the labor bid bond equals the consolidated annual federal report. They do that in the back room in pool bond mechanisms to create annuity contracts, which they draw on, which is an internal trade 185R CRA equals defalcation, which is 734.4 malfeasance in office. 429 is the willful and malicious intent when you give them a notice such as an A for V. They're liable for a tort, which is title insurance claim for the best public health and welfare interest of public health and welfare, the interest of those pool bonds in the back room for our pension funds, annuity contracts. UCC 9610 in quotations on the back of a bond. There's no warranty to title, possession, quiet enjoyment, or the like in their depositions because they have no contract. It's unconscionable, the contracts, especially when it's like a ticket and there's no damaged person or property. There's no corpus delicti, no damaged person or property. The clerk of the court can be obliged under Criminal Code 328 for nominal defendant and summary judgment for quiet title. They don't listen, they cause over issues, and they cause 382 of the Criminal Code, which is wash trading. They pretend we're dead. 1666, you're officially dead. 366 of the Criminal Code is fraud or the resemblance of a fraud, like a ticket. There's a restriction on assignment of transfers of said securities when you tell them about the breach of their conduct, the breach of trust. Criminal Code 123 is public mischief. Criminal Code 140 is writing down that the guy is actually dead when he's alive in front of them, like on a ticket, maintaining their game of administration in probate. When you file a GSA form, as in Canada, the GSA 56, taps into the SRED, Science, Research, Education and Development, which employs the rules against Section 19 in the UN Public Service 2-page article, which is in all bid bonds in the CAFRs because it's long-term agreements on the value because they are purchasing commodities in the futures. Annuities, we're all behind in arrears, minimum 1 year in CRA's eyes on paper. It is based on uniform or UN Public Service Rules, the 2 pages. Section 20 is where they deal with undermining your issue. Uniform municipality per person, I'm going to say, or per province or per nation. If you can manage to acquire your sovereign immunity recognition in the back room with your intellectual prowess, property, your knowledge, that it is all United Nation processing, you create a uniform marriage, GSA, or Form E206, which is the evidence of life, and then creating the reverse entitlement out of the title claim, because you've done tender of payment, you've claimed 48207, which is misdescription of beneficiary. The Criminal Code 403 is to get in trouble for a fraud for claiming that you're either the dead guy or the live guy. It's a title issue. Going to the understanding of courtesy notice, there are UCC codes which has them acknowledge for a verified true of complaint if there is a true damaged party. If not, they can be held liable for the value in these bonds, these court orders.
2-505.
This
or
is
3-505.
Yeah, step 1, step 2. These are just bonds that correlate.
Step 1, step 2.
Yeah, correlate back to the fact that GSA forms plus UCC 3-603 is a tender of settlement. So you're in the back room already. You made a uniform marriage and you made a uniform divorce act through that contract. It divorces them from getting their conduct money. It entitles you to the wages, which is all of our labor. Going into the back room, securing through UCC, that's an acceptance under reservation of rights, because you'll be tapping into their cause of the hardship. By giving them evidence of life, it goes against them in Criminal Code CCC, the Canadian Criminal Code, Section 47, you have high treason. Remember, E206 deals with the high courts.
Mm-hmm.
It's under the Geneva Convention process, in peace, prothonotary process. In your 2011 Criminal Code book, it's Section 60D for removing ill will and hatred. CCC Criminal Code 139, obstruction of justice. CCC 17, compulsion by threat. 39.1, securing your interests, granting you the right of entitlement. Moving up the ladder, 422, breach of trust. King's case, Supreme Court rule, pulling the money out of the CAFRs by right of entitlement because there's a restriction of the trades. Criminal Code 467 is CROT, ceasing and restriction of trade. This is restriction of assignment and transfer of said securities. T936 CRA is the CNIL account for cumulative net investment loss for repayment of all inducements. And thus you have the process of Uniform Foreign Judgment Act, pulling it out of the CAFRs because CRA's already got the underwriting, but you make a private contract going into secret commissions for the value of the defalcation. And it's out of Uniform Civil Forfeiture Act that creates a forfeiture on CRA entitling annuity contract disbursements for said tort. Love ya, gotta go.